Hey guys, it's Benjamin with Brainboard. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. Over the past year, I've had hundreds of conversations with companies around the globe, and a consistent topic that keeps popping up is technical debt. So today we're going to talk about it, what it is, and how to avoid it. Okay, let's get started. Specifically, I'm going to cover this as it pertains to cloud infrastructure, but it's really a universal concept when it comes to any company with an IT team. So we'll cover what is it, what causes it, and how to minimize it moving forward. First, let's cover infrastructure as code, or IAC. It's been around for about 10 years, and it's quickly becoming a necessity for anyone working in the cloud or moving from an on-premise environment into the cloud. Most commonly adopted language is Terraform by HashiCorp. In a nutshell, it helps reduce repetitive tasks, such as provisioning resources, monitoring, scaling your applications, increasing your operational efficiency. It also reduces manual intervention and assists in disaster recovery. It is also great for managing multi-cloud environment for those of you who don't want to be tied down to a single provider. If you're not using AC, stop. Research this. It's a whole different subject worthy of its own video, and there's plenty of them out there. It should be the first step in your journey to managing the cloud. If you are using it or considering it, let's keep going. Today we're going to focus on technical debt. What is technical debt? It is death by 1,000 cuts. It's the accumulation of small shortcuts and doing things the easy way that may save time in the short term, but in the long run, it's a mess. There's a lot of analogies I could use for this, but it's summertime and I've been doing a lot of yard work, and it just got me thinking about something that could be applicable here. So stick with the following. Imagine it's a pandemic and you are living in New York City and you're sick of the high rent, you're sick of the high cost of living and being stuck in your apartment downtown. So you decide to move to upstate New York to enjoy the countryside, and you bought a house. Nice. It's wonderful, but there's a dirt driveway. You know you should have it paved, but it's not that big of a deal, so you drive on it. And things are great for the summer, until it rains. And then you realize how slippery it is going up and down that driveway in the mud. So what you do, you go on the grass because you get more traction. Makes sense. It's a shortcut. It's a workaround. You don't have to pay the driveway right now. Over time, you start going over more and more grass until you have none. And then you're stuck in this scenario. And you're spending more time and resources just trying to get up out of the driveway than you are at your house. It's the same with technology and development. So, okay, you bite the bullet. You say, okay, let's do it. You have it paved. Great. And then you look to the side and realize, oh, there's the yard. I should probably have that done too, lest my neighbors hate me for reducing the property value around me. So you pay to have that done too. At the end of the day, what happens? Well, instead of just doing things the right way the first time around, you now have the cost of the driveway in addition to the cost of the grass, and you ended up paying way more than you did in the first place. This is the same when it comes to technical debt. While the quick and easy solution of bypassing procedures may grant short-term gains, over the long term, it will start to limit the amount you and your team can accomplish due to bottlenecks in communication, not using cloud-native practices, and using several tools that don't integrate with each other. You can see the blue line is your proper development. That's what would have happened if you just stuck to the right way of doing things. But because you took those shortcuts in the beginning, yeah, you saved some time, but now you have a mess that you have to deal with, and it's taking way longer to do things. That's technical debt. But technology is only part of the problem here, because technology is just a tool. What's the outcome? Who's using it? How are you using it? So I'm going to address this with regards to cloud infrastructure. You have people, you have process, and you have tools. Now, look, you can't create code without having someone who's trained on how to do it. And each provider does things differently. There's no easy way to translate a landing zone from GCP to Azure to AWS. Someone needs to know how to create each one of them. And if you don't know, and you're just trying to wing it, you're going to create more problems in the future. This is why cloud architects and DevOps who know coding languages like Terraform are expensive. They're rare. So if you have them, great, excellent. If you don't have them, pay for them. Now, everyone has their own particular way of doing things, and this is where workflows and governance comes in. It can be messy if you don't have some structure built into what you're doing, or your team doesn't know what everyone else is doing. So for example, like who knows cloud native practices? Who knows how to code in Terraform? Are your tags the same? Is your code being pushed out to the repo in the correct version? What's the workflow for the CI/CD? Are you keeping up to date with the newest versions of everything? How about documentation? Diagrams. Okay, when you start cutting steps, you start creating less efficient workflows. While faster in the beginning, complexity will eventually give way to entropy and you'll start incurring tech debt. So I hear, yeah, but that's why we have tools. Correct. Yep, we all have them. We all use them. They're necessary to get the job done. But how many do you have that you have to stitch together to accomplish what you need? The debt incurrence here occurs when you have to combine them all together. Every tool adds minutes, maybe even hours. You got security tools, you got verification tools, you got policy tools, cost estimation tools. So now for every tool, you got to log in, you got to upload the code, you got to go through the process, take your results, record them somewhere, compare and contrast, centralize the information. All this adds up and it's chewing up valuable time. That extra time cost is also debt. So how do you solve these issues? Well, can't help you if you don't have good people, like I said before. So spend the money and get them, and if you have them, keep them well paid. Once you have these people in place, I can help you with getting them all set to go with Terraform and infrastructure as code. Or if they're experienced with it, we can help you make that process better. So why Terraform? Again, whole separate video, but suffice it to say, the best option available is Terraform for multi-cloud environments and automation. The idea here is to think about creating an ecosystem using a tool that displays a single source of truth, and that allows your team to work well with your workflows and to build things the right way the first time. Again, don't cut corners. It's going to cost you in the long run. So how do we solve this? Like I said, single source of truth, collaborative platform, and use templates. Even if you have good architects and you have good DevOps on your teams that are creating stuff, save those templates, reuse them, use them as building blocks. Incorporate this do not repeat yourself or dry methodology. It really makes a difference. Now, I have to toot my own horn here for just a little bit and talk about the process of infrastructure as code. So this is really delineated between two separate areas. You have the journey before Terraform code and the journey afterwards. And the journey beforehand is that you have some specifications and you got to figure out how to make that Terraform code. So you get a design and then you got to turn that design into Terraform code, then you got to test it and then to review it and then to document it and finally validate it until you get to that point. And historically, that's taken a while to do, anywhere from days, weeks, or months. So what Brainboard did was say, we should probably solve this problem. And what we did was help to reduce the amount of time it takes to create that, to go from spec to Terraform, to hours or minutes as compared to days, weeks, or months. These are part of the templates I was talking about earlier. Once we had figured that out, we then said, well, we should probably take a look at the other side of the equation. Now, after you have Terraform code, there's a lot of different options that are available out there. Jenkins, GitLab CI, Azure DevOps, tons of them. But we said we should probably make this easier. And so we came up with our own CI/CD engine that is native to Brainboard. And what that does is take that Terraform code that we have created on the left side of the screen, and we're now pushing it through that CI/CD engine to test for security, for policy compliance, and for cost estimation. By doing that, we now have an end-to-end solution. You go from specification, Terraform code, to having infrastructure that's ready to be deployed or managed in some way, shape, or form. So remember that process I had before, that spiel on people, process, tools? Here's how you solve it. Your team can build cloud infrastructures with the best cloud practices right out of the box. And Brainboard forces you to build them in a standardized way that is repeatable so you don't waste time in that future. There's that DRY. This is great for those who are just learning Terraform, and for those that know Terraform, it's even better because you can create these templates that everyone can consume. So the people that don't know Terraform have the ability to simply choose a template, change some variables, and then deploy. No longer relying on that small team to do everything for everyone else. It's a self-service model. Now, using the same train of thought, you're going to eliminate bottlenecks because everyone's working on the same platform. And once you've created your bulletproof Terraform code, you then use that CI/CD engine to analyze it for that security, cost estimation, and policy compliance. This is all before you provision. You don't want any surprises at the end of the month here. So these workflows are the guidance that I talked about before. You're then going to use Brainboard to either deploy or to push to your repo. We try to make it easy for you to use it in whatever way you see best. The end result is the most powerful tool on the market that will significantly reduce the amount of time it takes to create and deploy infrastructure and a way to track and manage it on an ongoing basis. That's the power of Brainboard, and that's why it will virtually eliminate the problem of tech debt. Now, another way to look at this is from one of my favorite miniseries, which is Chernobyl. And there's this fantastic line where the lead atomic scientist explains how the series of shortcuts and missteps caused the cascading series of failures that led to that meltdown. In this case, the lies are the shortcuts that we take for short-term gain. I'm not saying your cloud infrastructure is going to melt down unless you're working on a nuclear power plant. Never mind. But there can be serious consequences from a security perspective. If you've taken a bunch of shortcuts to make it work in the past, that means to do it right. Now you got to undo everything and redo it properly. This is tech debt. It's the inability of your team to react quickly and mend configurations and the shortcuts that you put in place that ultimately hampers your ability to do what's necessary in the future. That's the whole point of doing this video. So, end result, don't get caught up in this tech debt trap, okay? I hope you found this informative. I spent a lot of time researching it, and I would be happy to talk to anyone else who is interested in learning more. In the meantime, feel free to contact me. Information is down below here, and I'm also on LinkedIn. So look forward to speaking with you. Thanks.